Civil-military friction in Bangladesh. Army chief's election ultimatum challenges Dr. Yunus's interim government.
A growing rift threatens the path to democratic restoration in Bangladesh.
In a rare public rebuke, Bangladesh's army chief, General Waker, has issued an ultimatum to the interim government led by Nobel Laureate Dr. Yunus: hold national elections by December 2025 or face institutional backlash. This declaration marks an inflection point in the fragile civil-military balance of power as Bangladesh attempts to navigate its post-revolution political transition.
The interim government, installed after a mass student-led uprising, unseated the long-standing regime of Sheikh Hasina, was widely seen as a neutral caretaker tasked with restoring democratic norms, rewriting problematic constitutional provisions, and preparing for inclusive, fair elections. But delays in the electoral roadmap, driven by calls for constitutional reform, electoral infrastructure upgrades, and diaspora engagement, have drawn criticism not just from political opponents, but now from the military.
General Waker remarks go beyond routine military commentary. In addition to pressing for elections by a fixed deadline, he has publicly condemned the interim government's geopolitical overtures, particularly the proposed Rakhine corridor to Myanmar, as compromising Bangladesh's sovereignty. These interventions, while lacking constitutional basis, reveal the military's growing impatience and its potential to shape outcomes through back-channel influence or pressure.
Such dynamics are not unprecedented in Bangladesh's history. Military-backed caretaker regimes have previously filled governance vacuums during transitions, often under the pretense of maintaining order. But in 2025, with global attention on Bangladesh's democratic aspirations and regional power shifts, overt military intervention could risk legitimacy at home and abroad.
What course of action should the interim government take? Assert civilian primacy publicly but diplomatically. Dr. Yunus must reinforce that the interim government alone holds the constitutional mandate to determine the electoral timeline. However, this should be framed diplomatically to avoid escalating tensions, emphasizing mutual respect between institutions rather than open confrontation. Initiate a high-level civil-military dialogue. Establish a formal dialogue mechanism between the interim administration and the military to diffuse tensions and align on national priorities. This would allow both sides to express concerns while reinforcing institutional roles. Publish a realistic electoral roadmap. The government should immediately publish a clear, phased roadmap for elections, including digital voter registration, expatriate participation, and electoral reform milestones, targeting Q1 2026 as a realistic compromise. Engage regional and global stakeholders. Proactively brief ASN, the UN, and key partners like the EU and US about the progress and challenges of the transition. International diplomatic backing can strengthen the interim government's legitimacy and deter unconstitutional influence. Reaffirm military's role in national security, not politics. Public messaging should emphasize the military's valued role in border defense and internal stability while drawing a clear boundary around political decision-making. Bangladesh stands at a critical juncture. The success of its transition depends not only on fair elections, but also on reinforcing democratic norms and institutional integrity. The interim government must manage civil-military relations with tact and resolve. Ceding to pressure risks setting a dangerous precedent. Resisting through strategy and transparency, however, may just preserve the promise of Bangladesh 2.0.